We had a pro-Obamacare doctor on this program earlier this week, and I asked her about if you like your plan, you can keep it. Okay? Here's how she responded. Roll tape. They have been kicked off the plan that they like.
They think they like that plan. The plan is actually a lemon.
They think they like it? They've made the choice, doctor, and you're taking the choice out of their hands and saying the government will decide what level of care they get and how much they've got to pay for it. That was Dr. Chen. She represents the Doctors for Obamacare, 16,000 doctors. And now let's be joined by another very famous doctor, Dr. Ben Carson, who has now retired, we should say, and he is now a Fox News contributor. Dr. Carson, welcome to the program. It's very good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Stuart. Always good to be with you.
What section of the medical profession does Dr. Chen actually represent? She was really gung-ho for Obamacare, and we've had her on twice on the show, and in both interviews, she smiled all the way through the entire interview. Does she represent the medical industry?
She does not, and I haven't been able to find other people who think like her, quite frankly, and I see a lot of doctors as I travel around. There were over 100 doctors at an event I was speaking at last night, which had several hundred people at it, and I didn't see anybody who was enthusiastic or endorsed this. Remember, you know, the AMA endorsed it, but only 19% of doctors belong to the AMA because they don't feel that that organization represents them. And, you know, the administration uses things like that. They'll go out, they'll parade all these doctors. They'll say the AMA, you know, they believe that this is good. They're very good at cherry picking and then utilizing that information to capture people who don't have a broad breadth of information.
So you are always good at bringing people together. You don't like head-to-head confrontation. We know that because you've appeared on the show many, many times. Now, I went up earlier today and said, I want to kill Obamacare. I just want it ended. I don't want it. I don't like it. Reverse it, please. But you bring people together. What would you do with Obamacare?
Well, what I would do, first of all, is recognize that it's creating a lot of problems. And I would propose that we look at some alternatives. Now, you know, the president says nobody has any alternatives. That's completely untrue. There are some very excellent alternatives. And if they would listen, which they have no willingness to do, because I don't really believe that this is about health care. It's about, you know, creating government control of our lives. What really disappoints me is that so many people are unable to see that. But I believe that the country is waking up. I believe even some of the non-Fox News media is actually starting to wake up because they realize that if the country goes off the cliff, they're going off too. They're not going to have their nice jobs either. So I'm actually very encouraged as I go around the country, huge enthusiastic crowds of people who've been beaten into submission. And now they recognize that maybe thinking logically and common sense is not a weird position. Maybe they don't have to hide under a rock and keep their opinions to themselves.
Do you want to take a leadership position, not just within the medical industry, but within national leadership?
Well, you know, it wasn't what I envisioned retirement to be honest with you. But as I see what's going on in our country and as I think about our future generations, you know, my life has really been centered around children, you know, as a pediatric neurosurgeon, and about their future. And I really have to think about that. And it just is abhorrent to me that we would be saddling them with this kind of debt and continuing to increase it. And then our officials say, well, it's not going up as fast. Give me a break. You know, if you take a balloon that's about to pop, you say, I'm not going to put a big amount of air in it, just a little amount. It's still going to pop. You know, we have to start thinking logically once again. And so I find myself as a voice crying in the wilderness.
But you are crying. You are saying something. Don't you want a leadership position?
I do not desire that. You know, I don't desire to run for office for a number of reasons. Number one, I totally don't believe in political correctness, so I don't know how viable I would be for that reason. And secondly, there's no way I'm going to get hooked up with a bunch of special interest groups. That's not who I am. So, you know, I probably don't fit the mold very well. But I'm going to continue to talk about this, going to continue to raise people's awareness, and, you know, we'll see where things lead. I always listen. I listen to God. I listen to my fellow citizens. You know, I would never forsake them, but my suspicion is that someone will come along who really wants to do that, and I would be very supportive if that person has the right kinds of ideals.
Dr. Ben Carson, everyone, always a pleasure to have you on this program, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir, good stuff, eh? Up next, Liz.